We are reviewing Spider-Man No Way Home.
Number 3.
Yep, and guess what?
I'm back.
Yeah, she's back.
For another episode.
Yeah, you are. So actually, we recorded the last episode, the second one, and the third one back to back, and we're gonna we just release them separately, because we're smart that way. Because that way it looks like we have more content that we actually make.
Well, you just revealed that we don't.
Well, then whatever. What are they gonna do about it? Find me?
They might. I don't know. Technology.
Who would want to find me? I am making stupid podcasts on the internet. Why? Okay. What would they want with me?
Let's get back on the topic at hand.
Yes.
Spider-Man. Spider.
Now, how did you feel about having all 3 Spider-Men in there?
Spoiler alert! Just letting you. We should have put a spoiler.
That's okay. It's pretty obvious by now. Spider-Man's been out for a while. Everybody knows that all 3 of them are in there.
It's been out for like 10 days.
Yeah, everyone knows now. It's Marvel. Things get released after the first.
There's like a spoiler ban, like happening. We'll just put the spoiler alert thing in the title.
Yep. We'll do that.
So having all 3 Spider-Men in there was so good. So have you seen the past Spider-Man movies, Aditi?
I think so, yes. But those were a long time ago when I was still, in like elementary school.
I know for sure I watched the first one of the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield.
I believe I watched those as well. I low-key thought he was Ben 10. Don't hate me for this.
Ben 10?
Yeah, I thought he was, but then I'm like, oh, no, he's Spider-Man.
Ben 10?
Yeah, before I found out that he was Spider-Man, I thought he was Ben 10.
Okay, then. Well, I feel like that was so good because you had 3 generations of Spider-Man on the screen at the same time. These are things that people have been fantasizing about since 2016, and Captain America Civil War came out, and we first got to see Tom Holland's Spider-Man. And
you know what? I really liked how they helped each other out. I mean, they were basically the same personality in different bodies, and yes, they had different experience, but they were very similar.
They were all of them were just so painfully awkward with each other.
Yeah,
it was so good, and I just think it was so. It was just so wholesome.
It really was. And I really liked how in the end Peter was about to kill Green Goblin, but then
Tobey Maguire
stopped him.
Tobey Maguire, and then got stabbed.
I mean, with all the soulful looks of exchange, it's like,
that's those soulful looks. Yes,
you can't do it. You know that. And then in the end, when they started making fun of how he got stabbed, and you're like, you must be in a lot of pain. He's like, I really am. Yes.
Excruciating pain.
Yeah, I mean, imagine this, okay? You're just walking down your own, street on your own world, being your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. You show up, and then you just disappear. You get stabbed, and you're teleported back to your home, and you're like, I got stabbed.
Dude's just along for the ride. I think they all are.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it a lot, actually. The movie the ending was so sad,
It made me realize my love for Andrew Garfield was revived. Oh my gosh.
I don't think he ever stopped being Spider-Man in our hearts.
Personally, controversial thought here. I liked Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man better than Tom Holland's.
I think it depends on what generation you grew up in.
I think that Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man was a lot more like the Spider-Man in the comics with the little quippy stuff when he, just the more talkative one.
Yeah.
But Peter Parker it's a younger Spider-Man. Peter Parker's Spider-Man is significantly younger than the other ones because the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man was graduating high school or something, going into college. Andrew Garfield was 16 and 17, and Peter Parker's Spider-Man started when he was 14.
Yeah.
So they're getting significantly younger.
And then he died and then came back. I mean, I think the next one we're going to see is Baby Spider-Man.
Baby Spider-Man, yep. Aunt May died.
Aunt May, yes, the spoiler alert there. Aunt May did in fact die. And I didn't like that, but I feel like they had to do that so that he could relate more to the other Spider-Man and their losses.
Okay, so everyone assumed because, the first Spider-Man movie, everyone at the point, all the audiences knew Spider-Man's origin story. Uncle Ben, radioactive Spider-Man, that they didn't really feel the need to include it. But because they didn't include it, nothing was really set in stone. Mm-hmm. So having Aunt May be the one to say, great power
Comes great responsibility.
I feel like that was it made Tom Holland's Spider-Man unique from the other Spider-Man.
You did, yes. I mean, if you want to talk about uniqueness, talk about Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse, right? That's unique, pretty. I mean, they had 2 Spider-Men. Like, there was already one, right? And then another one was born because he also got bit by a radioactive spider. Is essentially living the exact same life as him, but not. And then...
Are you talking about, like, Peter B. Parker?
Sure.
Have
you not seen the cartoon one?
Into the Spider-Verse? Yeah. Peter B. Parker.
Yeah, that one, yeah. Yeah, so how he died and then...
Are you talking about the blonde one or the brunette one?
I forgot.
Okay. Well, this is a dead end conversation that we're having right now.
That is true. Yes.
Moving on. So Aunt May's dead. Everyone forgot who Peter Parker was. He is essentially alone in this world, and he's poor.
That too. Yeah, he's living all by himself now.
He doesn't have a lot going on.
Yeah. Oh. Did he actually get into MIT? Did that happen or no?
No, he's trying to get his GED. He's trying to graduate high school.
Is he? I hope he's not gonna. I mean, okay. Yes, everyone forgot who he is, but his name is still written in places, so he should still be like a student at school. So his grades shouldn't be affected. So.
I know, but if like
about real world logistics here.
I know some of it doesn't make sense, and there's still that photo of Peter Parker and Tony Stark in Tony Stark's cabin, or something. So I don't know how they're gonna like explain that. The logistics of it are there, but yeah, nobody remembers Peter Parker, but people remember Spider-Man. He's poor. He doesn't have a lot going on for it.
Nope.
They really essentially set up the comic book Spider-Man, the whole plot line of it. I don't know if they're gonna have a Spider-Man 4.
I feel like they will because I think the contract is still happening with Tom Holland. They have a contract for what, 2 or 3 more movies?
I don't know. Right? I don't know if he's gonna.
I mean, they have to continue. I mean, at the end credit scene, we saw Venom.
Yes,
and a little bit of him was left over. So I feel like we will be having a Spider-Man versus Venom thing happen.
I know. Didn't we get that? We got that in the Tobey Maguire movie. I know that. Yeah. I think that was
So they want to see one with Tom Holland.
How did Venom get into that universe?
Well, okay. Well, everybody was pulled, right? Like
anyone who know who Peter Parker was Spider-Man.
Yeah. Did Venom know?
I don't know because it was never mentioned.
Maybe he found that after the movies ended, so they just like never really talked about it.
Maybe it'll explore more of that.
Yeah.
Later.
Possibly. And then like, okay, I get that. Okay, so Venom in the other universe was like kind of like a low-key basically, you know, like in the middle, not really. It was an okay guy, like an average guy, right? Mm-hmm. Did some evil stuff, but not too much evil stuff, right? So it's kind of like Loki, basically, right? Of that universe. And now he's here, and I have a feeling that we're about to see the opposite of that happen, where it's just like a full-on bad guy that becomes Venom, so then everything goes haywire.
I think they might do something different, because that was essentially the plot of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man with the Venoms thing. So I think they might do something, a different way with it this time.
Maybe. Possibly.
You know, they're actually hinting that they're going to make a third Andrew Garfield movie for Spider-Man because everyone...
The Amazing Spider-Man 3?
Because everyone loved this Spider-Man, like having seen Andrew Garfield back in the Spider-Man suit so much and they cut his series off too early, so it's... Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hey... If you want Spider-Man, you want Spider-Man. What can you do? Spider-Man is like the Mickey Mouse of Marvel.
It kind of is.
Right.
Like, I think, like, when you think of Marvel, Spider-Man is, like, the first one that you think of. And then, like, pretty close to, like, Iron Man and Captain America and stuff. But, like, Spider-Man, he's the OG. He is it.
Yeah. Did you know, I saw it somewhere on YouTube. I'm not really sure if it's true or not. But when Stan Lee... May he rest in peace, by the way. When he was coming up with Spider-Man, right, he was actually going to, like, he was like, I want to name it on a bug or something. So he came up with, like, Fly Boy or something that. Yeah, I know. But then he ended up with Spider-Man.
That's a much better name.
Yeah. And then, I guess he did get away with Ant-Man. So there's that.
I think then he's got like Black Widow. He's got a whole like little insect animal thing.
Yes, exactly. And so that's I really liked the whole movie, and I liked how MJ and Peter had finally talked about their feelings, and they had finally like started dating, and then all of a sudden they
It got ripped away.
Exactly. And then I loved how in the end she said, "You better find me and you better tell me who you are, because if you don't, I'll just figure it out anyway."
I need her to figure it out, because I genuinely don't think that Peter will tell them.
I mean, when he came back in the coffee shop to get some coffee, right?
Yeah.
The way they exchanged looks with each other was just, you can tell that they're in love with each other, and you don't even know why, but it's just this feeling. Because
I know, because Peter Parker,
deja vu.
Peter is not going to tell them. He's not, because he's gonna have overcome with like guilt, like, oh, he's gonna go like, oh, but they're better off without me or something. He's gonna pull that out of his ass. So he's gonna, MJ's gonna figure it out. I think that is.
That's what happened the first time.
Yeah, she's gonna figure it out, and she's gonna remember, and then Ned is gonna remember.
Yeah,
and I don't know what Happy's gonna do. That scene with Happy and Spider and Peter at the end of the graveyard, that was painful.
That was painful. How'd you know her? Oh, knew him through Spider-Man. No, Spider-Man knew Aunt May through you.
And okay, I think at this point, it was, for this specific scenario, it was a good thing that Tony and May died, because I don't want to see both of them forget who Peter was.
Yeah.
Because it's just, he has no one right now. We got to understand the magnitude of the fact that he has no one.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like none of this would have happened if Peter had just stopped being a little brat when Doctor Strange was coming up with the spell.
But then he wouldn't have saved all those superheroes, and I feel like it all just kind of led up to
superheroes. They were villains. They didn't want to be turned back.
Well, some of them did.
It's like I'm trying to help you, man. Just stay. You know, it's like when you're like with your dog, and they're like, you know, trying to eat some crab off the ground, and you're like, I'm trying to help you. You'll die if you eat this.
But they don't.
Stay still.
They didn't know any better. Like Otto Octavius, he didn't think that he could be saved, and
yet he was, and it proved it to everyone. And they were there. They came along. They all said yes, but then they turned their back on him. So and it's not like
except for Otto Octavius.
Otto Octavius was good. I liked how they fixed him.
And Green Goblin. I feel bad for the dude. Not Green Goblin. Just
Green Goblin
Norman
was
Osborn.
Just a giant.
Norman Osborn was okay. Green Goblin, terrible.
And the Electricity Man. I mean, after he was powered, after he was powered down, he became a regular guy, and they just had like a conversation for like 2 minutes, and then I was like, you could have just done that without your powers, without being all hyped up on them. Like, why? And the Sandman, how many times has he been fixed before? How many?
How many?
I don't know, like two times before, one time before? Because I know for a fact that I did see them in the series or something where he was fixed. They did fix him, but then he went back. I feel like at that point you just have to kill them. But Spider-Man is not going to do that because Spider-Man is a good person.
Spider-Man has a no-kill rule.
Yeah. You know, except for when it comes to
aliens.
Yeah, and Mysterio.
Well, that was different. It was
Mysterio killed himself.
At that point, it was kill or be killed.
Yeah. Oh my God, Mysterio was during the end of Spider-Man of this one,
Far From Home.
Yeah, Far From Home. How he said, "Peter Parker, Spider-Man." That was
a dick move.
Yeah, it was
uncalled for.
Yes,
unnecessary,
totally.
rude.
I mean, you gain the guy's trust, and then what do? Huh? You throw him under the bus, the bus that you made, and then the bus that attacked you.
So we have to think about, what does this mean for the future of the MCU? Because are they gonna eventually? We know once they accumulate more and develop some of the more newer characters like Shang-Chi and then like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and
I feel like they're using them to replace the characters that have already died.
I know they're bringing the new generation of Avengers. So is Spider-Man going to be a part of that?
I feel like yes, he is going to be, because I mean, if you think about it, right? He's still young, and those other guys, they're brand new. So if anything, there has to be some people there to guide the new ones into the generation of them, right? And Peter's just got, when Tony was like, dubbed him, on the alien.
Well, yeah, but there were also
so he's still pretty new
because the new all the characters that we have right now.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Disney Plus series?
For
just what Disney Plus series have you seen?
Well, I've seen WandaVision, right, and I've seen Loki. Loved it, but loved both of them. And then I started watching. I also finished Winter Soldier and
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Loved it. And also, what's the new one that just came out?
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye. Yes, I loved Hawkeye. And I just really liked how it's showcased that you don't have to have superpowers to be a superhero.
It was very good.
Yeah.
So we have all of those characters plus the Shang-Chi and the Eternals. I think they're gonna.
The Eternals are older than them. They're kind of like their own version of Avengers.
I don't know what the Eternals. The Eternals did not feel like a MCU movie. I don't know what they're gonna do there, but
it was more like Okay, I have to say it. It was more like a ripoff of of DC.
It did kind of feel like a DC
right?
movie.
I mean, they had the Flash powers, right? They had mind control, which I don't know who came up with that, but okay. And then Superman, Superman's flying, laser eyes. What else?
I don't know. I liked the Eternals movie. I enjoyed it. I'll watch it again once it comes out. But I don't think that it fits correctly into the MCU.
I mean, they're super duper powerful, right? So they're basically like Captain Marvel, but better.
I know, and that's what doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Because right now
the only reason they're better is because they've been there for a while.
Because right now the theme that they have going on with the new characters of the MCU is they're making the characters seem more human and less like Thor. We're like, oh, he's an outer space alien prince, and more just down to earth people like Shang-Chi with his valet job.
Yes.
And then Kate Bishop and all of these characters, they have human problems.
Yeah.
And then you had the Eternals movie where the planet was actually a breeding ground for a celestial being, and that didn't make any sense. So there needs to be a rectification.
Like there's going to be a segue. Okay, with Captain Marvel, what they did was, towards the end, we figured out that Nick Fury and Captain Marvel had they had known each other for a while, right? So that's how she was able to segue her way into the MCU universe and become a part of the Avengers, right? How are they going to do that with the others?
Harry Styles.
If Harry Styles is a part of them, right? Then does that mean that the universe that Earth does not have a Harry Styles as a singer and as an artist?
Or does Harry Styles just happen to look like Thanos' brother? I'm so confused.
Yeah, that makes no sense
on the logistics of this because if the MCU has Maroon 5 and Imagine Dragons, does that mean they just don't have One Direction, or they're just two people who look like Harry Styles around the planet? Because I feel like that could become an advantage, when they all start fighting.
Exactly, because it's Harry Styles. Everyone knows who Harry Styles is. I was not expecting him to become, a superhero.
Is Harry Styles going to be a villain?
I feel like the way he entered into the ship, whatever it's called, was kind of weird. I love how we started talking about Spider-Man, then we ended up talking about Eternals.
We can just make this a broad Marvel.
Yeah, well, let's do that. Because, do you remember that scene where MJ was falling off the building?
I cried.
I teared up.
I cried.
If you didn't tear up, you're not human.
That was the only part of the movie where of the Spider-Man movie where I actually cried, especially seeing Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man reacting to it and the way his face broke. And Andrew Garfield is just such a good and in-depth actor.
I mean, MJ didn't know that his MJ died like this, and then he was able to save her, and so this was him redeeming himself.
It was him getting not closure, but just it was a step towards healing.
Yeah, I mean, and we all knew that was going to happen from watching the trailer, but it still got us.
We knew it was coming.
Yeah,
and it still felt so good.
It did. It really did. And then, God, we just talked about a lot of stuff here, but There's a lot to unpack with the MCU universe, and I feel like with the next few movies that are going to come out, we're going to see a lot more of interaction and like crossovers with the other characters, and especially, I don't think there's going to be a lot to do with the Eternals because they just seem like they just plopped out of nowhere. I mean, just like out of the sky. I mean, literally out of the sky. They just drop in, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
but that
doesn't make sense.
All of these new releases will just lead to more podcast episodes just reviewing them.
Yes.
You know?
And you know what? Next up, you're going to have us reviewing WandaVision and Loki.
And just mostly focus specifically on the Disney Plus TV shows.
Yes,
Marvel.
and then afterwards, whatever else we can find to watch and to take our mind off whatever is going on in our lives.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. So that was 20 minutes of us talking about TV shows that we like to watch.
This had to be our most on track episode where we did not like veer off into randomness.
And yeah, like on the last one we talked about peanut butter.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Anyway, we hope you guys have a nice New Year or whatever time you're watching this. This is released on New Year's, so
yeah. So have a good time. Don't party too hard, but do at the same time. Do whatever you want. Just don't get in trouble and don't get COVID.
Yes.
Yeah, don't get COVID.
All right, goodbye.
All right, goodbye.